Pinnacle is making progress. It's a multi-million-dollar development on the North Coast described as a luxury development. While lauding the project, the Prime Minister took a moment to recognize the crisis facing Jamaica. Thousands homeless due to destruction from Hurricane Melissa.
I know the group that is behind this are very skilled contractors and that they do excellent work. This tower would have risen up in under a year. If you can do this, you can build thousands of low-income houses as well. And therefore, I use this platform to challenge you, to say the government of Jamaica is willing to partner with you if you were to put some of your construction skills into providing low-income housing, which is absolutely necessary at this time, given the destruction wrought by Hurricane Melissa. So come and talk to me after.
There have been concerns about the impact of the Pinnacle development on the environment due to its proximity to a nature reserve.
I had long discussions with NEPA to ensure that everything that is being done here was sustainable and that it would enhance the value of what is being developed in the city of Montego Bay, but that it will also protect, preserve, and enhance our environmental assets.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister warns the St. James Municipal Corporation, residents and businesses in Montego Bay to pay close attention to properties.
And as I was through, you could see that some people are trying to keep their frontage looking beautiful and welcoming, and others are not. We need to pay attention to the frontage of the properties, whether they are private or public, because you are selling a unified product. So you can't have a hotel here looking very lovely, and then 2 doors down there is another property where it's just chaos. That's a part of what is becoming Jamaican chaka-chaka, which we need to remove from our culture and experience.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Now, with murders down by 42%, the Prime Minister insists more will be done in 2026 to further reduce crime. Between January 1 and December 6, 640 murders were reported, compared to 1,002 for the same period last year.
We have moved from about 50 per 100,000. We're about 25 per 100,000 now. We need to get down to below the regional average, which is about 15 per 100,000. That is the target. So next year, we're not going to sit back and say, oh, we have achieved this wonderful thing. Next year, we're going to be pushing even harder to bring our homicide rate to below the regional average. And I believe once we give the security guarantee, you're not going to have space on the hip strip for tourists to walk.
The government last Friday approved a $150 million or 24 billion Jamaican dollar loan to the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS. This will go towards funding for the employment of additional overseas linesmen and to bring critical equipment for power restoration in areas worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. The opposition raised questions about the financing arrangement in Parliament on Tuesday, specifically on how the JPS will secure the remaining over $100 million required to complete the restoration. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz addressed the issue at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing.
The original estimate was $480 to $600 million. It has been revised down to $350 to $400 million. The $150 billion that we are lending them was not picked out of a hat. They told us they needed $75 million a month for 2 months to bring us full restoration. So yesterday in Parliament again, the noise and the mischief about the fact that the $150 million is not enough, and where is the other 200 or 250 million coming from? That's not a discussion that we have had with the JPS.
Mr. Vaz also stated that no proposal for extra funding outside the approved US $150 million has been submitted.
The JPS is owned majority privately, so the government has no obligation to fund a private entity. We did so in this case because of the benefits, and therefore we have nothing in front of us either to qualify at this stage the amount or the final assessment of the amount of money that Melissa has caused damage to JPS. We don't have it from the JPS, and I don't have it from the OUR. So I can't speak to any other figure other than what is out there.
He says the JPS would receive $50 million from the Emergency Disaster Fund, which is a separate disbursement the company is entitled to in a disaster from the OUR. That aside, he insists there's a clear rationale and benefits of the loan for residents in the affected parishes, which is why he is questioning the opposition's concerns.
We will not be having Christmas parties. We have agreed to allow small in-ministry or in-department recognition and morale building activities. So if you're doing something in the office itself, that is fine, but no rental of external venues is allowed. We are strongly, though, encouraging all our ministries, departments, and agencies to conduct outreach activities with members of their team that have been affected and who reside in the affected area. So we love to see of our ministries, departments, and agencies continuing the work that many are doing.
In a matter of weeks, the country will begin to see a change in how the government delivers assistance post-Hurricane Melissa. The details were revealed at today's sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee. 6 weeks after the hurricane, and still several shelters remain active. At Tuesday's sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, Director General at ODPEM Commander Alvin Gale revealed that as of December 10, some 101 emergency shelters remain active across 7 parishes.
Westmoreland continues to be leading the pack in terms of number of shelters and number of persons within shelters. So we currently have in Westmoreland some 32 shelters open, with just about 522 persons being housed in shelters. St. James is the next largest holding with some 26 shelters activated and just about 135 persons in shelters.
Just last week, residents staying at the shelter at Petersfield, Westmoreland, were informed that it would be closed by year-end, leaving some residents uneasy, and so this question.
When is the targeted end date for shelter stay?
So the target, as the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is looking at it now, is quite possibly the end of this year.
December 31st.
Yes, but I'd rather leave it to that ministry to give more detail on the exact plan.
Shelters aside, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Ambassador Dr. Rocky Mead, again pointed to major changes in how assistance is delivered in the coming weeks.
They are looking at what I will loosely call a voucher system, but it doesn't necessarily mean a piece of paper that has the word voucher on it. It's really putting purchasing power in the hands of citizens, and we have had some meetings on how that could work. And the details of that are also being worked out.
We should be transitioning now, or certainly by January, to that. So I would have expected a little greater detail or specifics, at least what you are exploring.
Sure. Chair, there is indeed more detail. But in fairness to my colleague PS, as I said, she and her team has really worked on this. They made a presentation recently to Prime Minister on the concept. He asked them to tweak a couple of things. And I would really, if you don't mind, Chair, defer to my colleague P.S. Jennings to provide those details.
In the meantime, funds raised through the Government Support Jamaica portal will be redirected towards purchasing building materials. However, there were questions about how the container homes expected in a matter of weeks would be distributed by the government.
The reality in Westmoreland, as we've been told, is that, and St. Elizabeth, is that a lot of people there are not owners of the land or don't have title readily. So I want to get an understanding of that.
I think we have a legal obligation to ensure that we're not encouraging citizens to be on land for which they have no rights. We could be subject to lawsuits, etc., if there is some evidence that the land actually belongs to someone else. So as much as we would like to just facilitate persons based on their word, we do have a legal obligation for some due diligence. So I would say where the question of tenure where there's no question of the tenure, I think we could expedite. But where there is question, then we would have to look at other ways to facilitate.
Despite the concerns, both ODIM and the OPM sought to assure the PAAC that assessments are ongoing and partnerships with local authorities remain strong.